All right. So as you're listening to this, if I say Jim and I, it sounds like Jim and I, Jim and myself, we're having a conversation about legacy money.
Mm,
And legacy money is when we've done well in our business, in our case, and most people listen to this, our mortgage business, and we have enough money, not that they need it, but that our heirs, our grandchildren, our children, then our grandchildren, then our great grandchildren can get some money on an ongoing basis.
yeah.
And I always thought of this, Jim, that again, and I told my kids this, not that you need it, right? Because my kids are all adults now. I got one is going for her doctorate in education, one's an engineer for the Department of Defense,
Wow.
one's a family practice medical doctor.
How'd you do all
So
that?
oh, the lovely
You lucked
Mrs.
out,
White.
brother. You
Yeah,
lucked out the
the
lovely
lovely
Mrs.
Mrs.
White.
White.
It always
The-
takes that.
yeah, the lovely Mrs. White.
It takes somebody
So
at home, be they a man or a woman, to like turn
yeah,
around.
so they don't need anything other than my love and support, of course, right? But financially, they don't need anything,
Yeah.
right? But I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool? I always thought this, man. Would it be cool if you woke up one day and you found out your great grandfather left you $3 million, or and
Or
there's and
paid for your
there's
college, all expenses paid as long as you went to
yeah,
college, stuff like that.
yeah, like again, not that my kids can't pay for their own kids, you know, college education, but I I want to. Like
Yeah.
I want to make a difference after I'm gone, right? So for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
So so here's the quandary.
Well, here, wait, you know why for me that is? So I want to make a
Um,
difference after I'm gone because I feel so lucky to be in this
mm,
business. Like I totally tripped into this business and fell. I
mm,
didn't pursue it.
mm.
Uh, it was shoved in front of me, and I took a chance, like most of us, and I worked hard and made some good decisions and made some mistakes. And like, wow, how fortunate am I? And I always look at my kids and I'm like,
Mm.
your kids are doing great, but the things that you said that they're doing probably don't have the income potential as what we do,
For sure.
right? Even though they're
They're,
doing great.
they're doing great, and
Yep.
they're doing. My son works for the Department of Defense and I really don't know exactly because it's a
Yeah, hush
classified
hush and
thing,
stuff. But yeah, it's
but
good.
I think he's a Mister Gadget for
Yeah.
Special Forces.
Wow.
So he's an engineer, and they make
Yeah.
widgets. I have no
Which is,
idea
yeah,
what,
cool stuff.
but so
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 they're
yeah,
gonna be fine.
so he's making a difference. My one of my girls is teaching tomorrow's legacy, right in the education department. The other one's saving lives, you
Yeah.
know. And
Pretty good.
so yeah,
So we're
so
not we're not saying like I don't think I gotta take care of my kids so they don't have to worry about money. That's not what I would ever pursue, honestly. But like we're so lucky to have the income potential that we've had
yeah,
and to be mentored to learn how to save.
yeah,
Like so, it's unlikely that either one of our kids, and probably I mean, that's probably a little too big of a statement, but most of our grandkids aren't going to fall into that kind of opportunity, most likely.
most likely, you're right.
So who am I to not take every advantage of it? Who am I not to wring the
Mhm.
towel out on everything I can do, you know, and still keep all my promises to all my family and everybody? Who am I not to like try and take advantage of the opportunity? That's how I stay in it.
Hmm. Yeah,
That's
like
that's how I stay in it.
we got a couple properties that's we call it family properties. So one's up toward the mountains, one's on the beach.
Mhm.
And so we got this beach home, and anybody can go there anytime they want to. And so
Pretty cool.
we have our own little calendar. So it's a
Well,
Google Calendar. We don't Airbnb it out because we
just
don't want
family goes there when they want.
yeah, so you just go on the calendar and there it is. And you know what? Some of my cousins have the link, right? And they don't, dude, don't call me, just go on the Google Calendar. And I remember when I was going to college, I had a wealthy uncle, or have a wealthy uncle, that had that exact same thing. He had this beach
Ah,
property. He
plant the
said,
seed.
Carl, don't call me, just go. And I loved Uncle David for that. I loved him anyway,
Yeah,
but I thought it was extra cool that he did that. And
legacy.
so in his honor, he's 81, 82 years old these days, not doing so well. But in his honor, I wanted to keep that tradition
Yeah,
going, and it's just kind of cool. So
it is.
anyway, so you and I were talking about this, and I've currently got mine set up so that when me and the lovely Mrs. White go find out what's on the other side of this life, that you take our net worth. Actually, the way we did it is so my house here in Florida and the guest house that we have on this actually goes to my son because he lives,
Mm.
you know, close to this area. And then my two houses in North Carolina go to my daughter because she lives in North Carolina. So that just made most sense. And you
Yeah.
go, wait, they're not completely equitable. Our houses here are worth a little bit more, a
So
little bit,
what?
but it's close enough, right?
So what?
So they each get those sets of properties, but then the stocks
Money.
and money um, gets divided and equal shares go out. Other than so far, I have one grandson, and we set up a thing with him. I can't remember how much it was now. I think it was 10%, which is a good number, right? When
Yeah,
you put on dollars and cents, that 10% is a big number.
big number.
And that's going into an account that at 30, I think it's at 30, he gets 10% of that. At 40, he gets another 20, and at 50, he gets the balance. And it's invested in the S&P 500, in my case VOO, and that'll be a substantial
Yeah.
amount of money because if you multiply that times 30
Oh,
years from
in 10
now,
years between his first two draws, it's going to be bigger than what he took out.
a very substantial, like
Yeah.
very, very, very substantial. So I thought, but I was grew up poor. I've shared that more than once, right? Or working poor. Nobody ever told me how to do this stuff.
Dude, my mom and
And
dad didn't, it's like, it wasn't something you talked about.
yeah, that my parents taught me how to love, right? They taught me how to love. They taught me how to work,
Tell me how to work.
right? They taught me ethics.
Yep.
They taught me culture. They couldn't teach me wealth because they didn't have it, right? They would have. Now,
Yeah.
and my father was much better off than his father because my father's father, my father literally grew up with a dirt floor in his house, like literally.
Wow.
Yeah, literally
You think
dirt
about
floors.
how far we've come in a short period of time. That's a whole
Oh,
nother conversation.
dude.
Wow.
Yeah.
As,
So
as like
anyway,
as a world or whatever.
we were talking about, we were sharing, or I was actually asking you how you do it, and you do yours way different than mine. And
Oh,
I
by the
think,
fire pit. Now I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
When we were
and
hanging out by the fire pit.
yeah, and I think you have a more structured, and frankly, maybe a better educated way of doing this.
Well, I don't know about more educated, but for me, I think about money and it's a pain to manage it. It's responsibility. It's
Mm.
like you can mess it up,
Oh yeah,
you know?
most do.
Most do, right? You
Mm-hmm.
can talk about people who won the lottery and all that going bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, what I'm about to share with you is not going to make someone a quadrillionaire, right? It's just about passing it along in a way that doesn't ruin them.
Yeah.
Like you don't have any financial needs and you don't have any challenges to overcome. Wow, that's hard to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's hard to be happy if you don't have the experience of overcoming stuff. Your whole house is
Mm-hmm.
set, your money's set, everything's set. You don't got to worry about nothing. Boy, you better have some really good ethics and parenting and be a
Mm-hmm.
giver, right? It can be weird. So here's the theory. You ready?
Tell me.
So if I get, let's say I am blessed enough to save 10 million bucks in the bank.
Okay,
That's a lot of money.
that's a lot of money.
Conservatively, you can get, I was told, 4,200 bucks per million spendable every month without touching the million.
Yeah,
I
and
think,
that's being very conservative.
well, it depends on the time of life because there have been times that you haven't been able to get that. But yes, it is conservative. So I know it's like I could So conservative means it's most likely going to work out. So for every million after I stop working or whatever, I
Yep.
can spend $4,100 a month without touching it. So if I have 10, I can spend 42 grand a month. I don't have to save nothing.
No, because you already saved it.
I saved it. I can spend it. So that's plenty. It's more than enough. But
That's,
10's an easy number to do this math, right?
okay.
So then I already have the stuff I want paid off. You
Yep.
know, I don't got to buy nothing really. I could, but I don't have to. I could
Yep.
move this house to over here and shuffle whatever. So I live on this 40 grand a month. So maybe I live on 20 and save 20 and go on like five I was going to say badass, really hot vacations a year with my beautiful bride and bring all our kids.
Yeah.
Pretty cool life. And then when we go past,
Yep.
we got two kids, let's say, for easy
Yep.
math.
Yep.
They each get 5 million, but they don't get the million. They just get the interest check every month. So when I die, they'll probably have kids. They'll probably have a career. My kids will probably have kids in a career when I pass, right?
Yep.
So they found their way. Now they just got an easier life.
Hmm.
If they had bills, they can pay them
A
off.
few more vacations kind of thing.
20 grand a month spendable when I die, each, without touching the principal. If I have two sons, they each get 20 grand a month, probably more than they're making at that time.
So how does that work? All right, and just for our listeners, I know what the rule you're quoting is called the 4% rule,
Yeah.
which some people say the 5% rule. So either
Like
one,
the
right?
middle.
I'm a 5% guy because and where that comes from, just for our listeners, is if you put in the S&P 500, it's averaged a little over 10%, like 10.7% the last 70 years, and so let's
Taxable,
say
so it's
10%.
6%. Right.
Yeah,
Taxable, so it's 6%.
yeah. So
They're on
so
the
uh,
yeah.
so yeah, so let's say it's 10%. That means that 5% of that I can put in my pocket and spend. The other 5% goes back into the fund, reinvest with 3% inflation. The 5% in the fund keeps up with inflation and still continues to grow by 2% while I spend the five. So
You're
that's
exactly
where
right.
that's
When I
so if
work
I
out
got a
the
million
model,
dollars on my number, I can pull out uh, 5,000 a month
yes,
and never run out of money. So for every
that's
million,
the key.
I can do 5,000. All right. So here's my
That's the key to
question.
this plan. That's the key to this plan because I'm drawing out what I draw, but it's also growing. If you
To
play the
keep up with
average,
inflation and just get
it's
bigger.
just growing.
Yeah. All right.
So
So
it's
here.
always
Oh,
still
and
growing
by the way, the income tax from it is not taxed at regular income.
long
It
term,
is
20%.
taxed as long term capital gain. So for most of us, it'll be at either between a 15 to a 20%
Yeah.
tax rate as opposed to a 39.7.
And
Or
you're not taxed on the money you put in.
and you're not taxed on the money you put in. That's
So it's
exactly
not
right.
all taxable. It's just
Yeah.
part of it's 20% taxable. So it's even less than we're saying.
All right. So let me ask you this. Here's my question to
But we're
you.
not CPAs giving CPA advice.
No, no, yeah, and there's no advice here. We're just two schmucks sitting around a
Talking
campfire
smart.
having a conversation, so to speak. So, all right. So, being a little bit humble when I say that, but you get the idea. Yeah, we're not giving advice here. We're just sharing our ideas. So,
Is that
okay,
what I'm doing?
there's a little asterisk there. All right. So here's my question to you. Hey there. Hey, if you're loving the tips so far, be sure to hit that subscribe button right down there and then tap the little bell so that you never miss out on more free, cool tips coming your way. Also, I would love to hear from you. Drop a comment beneath there. Let me know what you think or tell me what you'd like to hear next. So, using the number of $10 million, that means that that spurns off, say around, what is that,
22,000 a month.
42,000 a month. So 42,000 a month. I got in this example, you got two kids, so that would be 21,000 each.
Yep.
Now, when they have children, what happens then?
Yeah. So when they have children, because
Tell
we're
me.
not taking all we could take, it is still growing.
Yes.
So the amount of money that's it's kicking off is
Yes.
growing. But we're
Yep.
not taking more because it's plenty.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So
So
that's
let's say each one of your kids, just for an easy number, has two more. Okay, so two more.
yeah.
So now I've got kid John and kid Jane. And kid John has two kids, and my daughter Jane has two kids. So John's getting 21,000 a month. Jane's getting 2,000 a month, $21,000 a month. do the grandkids get any, or do they not get any until
They don't
John
get any.
and Jane
No, they
die?
don't get nothing because I don't want to give them no money until they've gone through all the struggles, overcome this, finished this school, tried this job. Like, how much fun did you have, like figuring all that stuff out? When I mean, we
Yeah.
forget. Like, I wouldn't want to do it again, Carl, but I'm glad I did it.
Yeah, kind of like the butterfly get if you try to cut a butterfly out of the cocoon, it actually dies because its wings grow as it's beating itself out of the cocoon. That's what sends blood flow to the wings. And you're
Like the
trying
mom.
to help the butterfly by cutting him out, but you're actually killing him. So I get
Wow,
it.
wow, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's like the human spirit is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And
All
then,
right.
like
So
people want to contribute, people want to help other people want to grow, people want to overcome. And if you just give them all they need, then wow, that's not very much
there's no
fun.
growth.
So then
Okay.
when my son and my daughter, would you call them Jane and who?
Jane and John.
Jane and John pass, not both of them, but when John passes, his kids, he was getting 21,000. His
Correct.
kids are getting 10,000 a month each from me, and I'm long gone. And they've
Yeah.
already gone to college, already had a job, probably already had a family
Do you have a
because
time? Do you have so do the grandkids not get anything until their parents die?
yeah, that's
Okay.
the whole idea.
I get that.
Because they're going to inherit all the stuff I have, the house, the lake house, the this, the that, right? And
hmm
then they're going to get 20 grand a month for about 30 years. So they're going to accumulate more cool stuff, right?
And keeping in mind that 20 grand increases according to inflation
Right. So adjusted
it-
for inflation, it'll be
yeah,
more by then, but it'll still feel like 20
in
to me.
today's money. So in today's money, it'll still be 20 grand because remember, we took out 4,200 and the rest of the hundred
Potential,
thousand
yeah,
right
in,
that it makes is reinvested to keep up with inflation because we're pulling out 4%, in your case 4%, in my case 5% per year, and investing the other, in your case 6%, my
yeah,
case
reinvestment.
5%. So next month it's 5% of a little more and a little more. And so it keeps up with inflation. So all right. So in your scenario, then the grandkids don't get it until mom and dad die, and then they get whatever mom and dad had. Plus, then
Plus,
they start getting what
10
the
grand a month from
trust.
grandpa. 10 grand a month
Like
from grandpa.
I like that. And so, do you have it set up so that it just like when your grandkids have grandkids and when they have grandkids, like when does it
All
end?
as it goes until by then it's like there's some skip generation rules around inheritance and all this sort of stuff. You really got to, if you're getting into some weird plan like this, you really got to go meet with someone, a trust attorney and a financial person that really
Of
knows
course.
like the laws about it. Because a small example is I have 401k and she's like, well, when you die, just donate it. I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, well, you didn't pay taxes on it, so they're going to take half, and then it's to your kids, it's not yours, so they're going to take another half. So if it's $1 million, your kid's going to get 250, but you already got all this other money. I know that seems weird, but you're not like when you pass, your 401k gets takes a beating.
Taxable income.
It takes a beating because they're taking the taxes
Yeah.
and it can't transfer to someone without inherit with this other thing. I don't know what it's called, but it half and half. You get a
Yeah.
quarter. So, anyways, so like the thing that it think is the best part of it is it keeps me from going out and spending a bunch of money on stuff I don't need to buy.
hmm
But I'm not any happier having a bunch of stuff.
hmm
Like, you know what I mean?
Well, again, with $10 million, dude, you got $41,000 a month coming on,
Yeah,
and,
like, yeah,
and you
but
already own your house.
I
You
could
already own the
spend
lake
more.
house.
But if I didn't have this vision, this is what I'm trying to say. If I didn't have this vision and this desire to take care of them, I would spend more.
Yeah, you can spend 100,000 a month.
Spend more.
Yeah, but what does
So
a
here's
hundred
the here's
thousand
the
get you
kick.
that 40 doesn't? Right, I get
Here's
you.
the extra thing that made it work for me. So
Tell me.
remember how you told me you put some money in the kid's account, and by the
Yeah,
time or whatever age it was, kabonkers.
yeah,
You put 40 grand
mhm,
in there, it was 700 grand or some crazy number.
yeah,
So I put 200 grand. I put money into 529s for each of my boys,
okay,
and it's a lot of money now. It's not 50 grand. It's a couple hundred grand each, more than that.
yeah,
Well, they're not going to use all of it, and you can pass it down. So from the time they're done using it, which is just a few years from now, until the time their kids go to college, which is a long time from now, that money gets to sit there and grow tax free. It'll
hmm
more than double twice.
yeah,
It'll be
yeah.
more. So then grandpa and grandma paid for all their colleges
Hmm.
and gave them 10 grand for the rest of their life once their parents pass. I'm like,
Hmm.
for my grandkids, like pay for their
You,
college.
I
But
used to look at these families like the Kennedys and just think things like that don't happen often. But the wonderful thing about this career that we have is that we can kind of be the good part, right, of the Kennedy, or insert in,
a
whatever,
version, a
a
version.
version, a better way, yep, a version of a healthy Kennedy fam. Not that they're not. I'm not making judgment here,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you know, um,
To
yeah,
create that kind of wealth, there's more than
yeah,
I
that this is that
choose to
this
understand.
that this kind of thing is possible
Yeah,
to what I'm going to
it's
call
business.
normal people that are working in an abnormal business where the numbers can be crazy as long as you're following the plan
Right.
and you're doing the activity that's available for us to do to close a bunch of loans and make a lot. There's not a lot of industries where every time I get a yeah, okay, yep, we'll do that, that we make 4 grand or five
It's like an
grand.
Easter egg hunt with 4 grand
Or
each one of those little plastic eggs.
yeah, every time we get a yes, we get 3 grand or 6 or whatever that number is. And gosh, all we need is 10 of those a month. We're getting 40, 50 grand a month.
Crazy.
Crazy,
It's crazy.
crazy numbers.
So
Yeah,
like, and it's like I learned everything I know about doing loans and running a branch from other people.
the same here.
My bet, the luckiest thing, like besides my family,
Mhm,
I lucked out because I bumped into a group that believed in coaching and sharing within
mhm,
our industry. That's not normal.
mhm.
People get real competitive and play their cards real close to the vest, but there's so many loans out there, Carl.
Yeah,
There's always enough for me in my town, always enough. And so
yeah.
I got lucky. I was coached in around a coaching community where people are helping each other and give it and like cheering you instead of being like jealous.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
you created that too. And like together, that's why I do what we do. It's because
mhm,
I mean, I was on academic probation 6 times. I never finished school.
mhm,
The first person to graduate college from my family was my niece,
mhm.
and I was a clerk at a grocery store, bagging groceries and checking and working night crew. I liked it.
Dude, I got one on you. I washed eggs for a living. Literally.
It's crazy.
Literally. And then I graduated from that and became worked for the Florida State Penitentiary. I don't know if I shared this with you. I was a guard for the Florida State Penitentiary.
You
I was.
would not want to be a guard.
I come to find out, neither did I.
If you lose your temper, you're in trouble. If you don't stand up, you get. I don't know, man. That seems like a tough job.
That
I
was that was
admire anybody who has it.
it was a tough job. Yeah, it was. But anyway, so it's just a wonderful career that we have that average people can achieve extraordinary results with a little bit of discipline, a little bit of structure, and a little bit of accountability.
Yeah, being part of
Yeah.
the right community.
Yeah. So, hey, we got to do a shameless plug here, right? We can't if we're going to hit the record, we got to do a
You're working
we
hard lately.
yeah, we can't teach loan officers to go out and ask for business. We're not doing it ourselves. So, hey, if you'd like to talk to us about a new accountability group that Jim and I have put together, would love to talk to you about that. Probably the best way to do that would be go to getmoreloans.com, getmoreloans.com. Uh, Schedule a meeting. We'll kind of walk you through what it looks like. You're not deciding. When you call in, you're not saying, yeah, man, I want to do it. You're calling in to see what it's like. Like,
Yeah,
hey, tell me about this. What is it? What's provided? What do I need to do? How does it work? And we'll map it out for you. Get
yeah. I mean, it's an
more.
interview. Like sometimes, like it's not for everybody.
No.
And like we may say, hey, you're not ready.
Yeah.
Do these 3 things and you'll be ready. Because well, the win in it for me, honestly, is like I learn as much from them as I do
Oh,
share.
for sure. Hmm.
Like it's a
Again,
complete
most of what I know came from other people.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Getmoreloans.com. Would love to talk to you. So cool, man. All right. I think I have much more clarity on this. And again, the reason for this call, I just want to make perfectly clear, nobody's bragging here or anything like that. Because trust me, there's way bigger fish in this ocean than myself and Jimmy
Yeah,
combined.
yeah,
Right.
and I'm not saying I got 10 million bucks in the bank. I was using it for easy math.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I do. So just
I know. Well, well, I
no, no,
might
no.
too, but
So
it's not. I'm
yeah,
not.
yeah, I know you do. I know you do. But yeah, it's meant for inspirational purposes.
That's
Because when Jim and I were having this conversation, I said, dude, do you mind if you hit the record button? And you said, sure, let's inspire others.
right.
So we just want to inspire you that you look at, especially for me, and I'm not saying this to be funny, that all my faults, which, as you listen to this, I don't talk great necessarily. I'm no Brad Pitt. I get that. I make mistakes often, and I still make a bunch of money because I have structure. I have accountability, and I have discipline in my life, at least when it comes to this part. So, would love to share it with you. So, getmoreloans.com. Hopefully, this inspired you and your family will thank you. And how cool would it be that your grandkids, long after you're gone, look and went, that was Aunt Betsy, or that was Uncle
Yeah.
Carl, or that was, and because of them, I got to do this. So I don't know. I just think that's kind of the older I get, the cooler that sounds, you
That's
know?
cool. I mean, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, man. I appreciate you,
All right,
brother.
buddy. Thank you.
All right, bye.